Well, every year we interview hundreds, if not thousands, of IT decision makers in terms of surveys and one-on-one interviews. We're seeing many organizations now starting to make that move to create, in many cases, hybrid data center environments that match the needs of the workloads to the various kinds of resources that are available. What's happened over time now as we come to highly virtualized software-defined cloud environments, the workloads can move very quickly, and there's an important need to maintain consistent configurations and provisioning templates and policies and access control regardless of where those workloads reside. And I think it's even compounded by DevOps environments where we're seeing continuous delivery and almost constant updates to software that again is deployed across this whole range of infrastructure. So IT operations teams and DevOps management teams really have a number of new challenges in terms of dealing with the scale, the complexity, and the rate of change that they have to accommodate in order to keep the business services running. Traditional management strategies tended to be rather fragmented and specific to individual platforms. So what that meant is that you had a lot of one-offs. You had a lot of manual ad hoc processes being used to provision, to configure, to change, to do compliance and audit, to troubleshoot, you name it. Most IT admins' time is being spent on those kind of ad hoc manual processes. So it's very time-consuming, it's very expensive, and it really puts up a lot of barriers when it comes to making changes quickly to support the needs of the business. So what we're seeing the open source community do is create standard libraries, standard architecture, standard repositories that allow organizations to take what they need, assemble it, maintain it, propagate it throughout their organizations in a very consistent way that can be highly automated. Many organizations that maybe for years now have tried to do it themselves. And what they say again and again is it's just not scalable. We can't be in the business of maintaining it. And many of the vendors, I think, recognize that as well, that there's a real value in leveraging what the community is generating and then adding to it, hardening it, customizing it, maybe extending some of the content for very specific environments. We're accelerating that time to value, we're taking out costs, and we're maintaining a much more consistent environment that can be reused time and time again, not just in data center A, but in data center B and C and D down the road. Well, Red Hat Satellite 6 is really a whole new product. I think that there's a long history of the Satellite brand that's been important to Red Hat and its customers, but I think it's also going to be important that customers recognize there's a big difference between Satellite 5 and Satellite 6. And one of the most fundamental changes is that the whole architecture is shifting to something that's really leveraging those open source communities. There's going to be a Foreman-based plugin architecture and Catella and Pulp to manage the repositories and support for configuration automation communities such as Puppet and I think a little bit in the future Chef. And so I think that's going to be a really important advantage for the satellite customers and the Red Hat communities. The other thing that they need to look at is the scalability. I think that the new Satellite 6 is going to be much more appropriate for the needs of very high capacity and scalable data centers and distributed data centers because the new capsule server architecture is going to allow much better coverage and scale in many ways. So I think it's something that many of the existing Red Hat Satellite 5 customers are going to want to take a good look at.